Hello all and welcome to the session of Ionic. In today's session, we will see how do we create a basic application in Ionic framework. To start off with, we need to create a folder where we want the project to be created. So whichever drive you want to select, you select the drive and then create a folder. So I've created a folder in C drive. Now for the ones who have not worked with Ionic before and want to start off with a new application, I will go step by step with basic way of working with the actual creating the first application in Ionic. So first I will say Ionic start. Now when I click on Ionic start, it says do you want to work with app creation wizard? App creation wizard I will show you when I will go ahead with another video. So for now I will say no. Now it says select a framework. So we need to select which framework do we want to work with. Since we are going to work with Angular, my arrow is there at Angular. I will select and click on enter. Then it is asking me for the project name. So for now, I will give my project name as ABC12. You can give whichever name you want for the project. Then it says what kind of project do you want to start with. So here if I see, I have tabs, I have side menu. So do you want to start an application which has by default tabs interface? Or do you want to start an application which has side menu as the interface? Do you want to start with a blank project or do you want to start a project which has by default listing? Or do you want to start an application which has camera with gallery? Or do you want to start an application which has kitchen, which is actually a kitchen sink application which has all the, you can say, features of Ionic? So for now, for the start with Ionic, we will go with blank and then click on enter. So once we click on enter, automatically it starts creating a folder of ABC and extracting all the features which are required to work with the application. So here, as we can see over here, the folder name which we have given is ABC. It is trying to take up, you can say install the latest, you can say all the files which are there to work with Ionic. This might take few minutes to get installed. It has found no vulnerabilities. If suppose vulnerabilities are found, then we have to work with npm audit fix command to fix up those vulnerabilities. This is very important to work with. Otherwise, if you change your system, then you can say applications might not work with. Here it is checking for the different versions. Few versions have been deprecated. It will show you deprecated. Then it might show you where you need to upgrade it as well. This might take few minutes to get installed. Till then, let us see what are different features when we work with Ionic, for which I have already created a video, but just for your knowledge, when we work with Ionic, whenever we work with, let us consider Android. In Android, when we work with the application, we need to work with the emulator and then finally make it run. But when we work with Ionic, whenever we just save the project, which whatever work we have done, automatically it gets reflected in the application. So it's very easy to work with our Ionic. It's getting installed, almost done. You can see it is getting installed in the folder ABC12. All the modules are getting created, so it becomes easier for us to load the application and then finally run it. Then it says, do you want to create a free account? So we will say no for creating a free account for Ionic. And once we say no, automatically our Ionic application is ready. So how do we actually run the application to see whether how does the UI look like? So for running the application, you have to go into the folder which you have already created as your project. That is ABC12. So I will say cd ABC12 and then click on enter. So now we are into the folder of ABC12. That is our project. Now we need to now we need to run our application. So for running our application, we will say Ionic serve. This is one way of running our application where we work on local host, and this takes up port number 8100. So now what is the difference between this app running with this Ionic Serve and the other method which we are going to see with? Now when you work with Ionic Serve, it, as you know, it works on the local host. So the UI which you will see will be of the computer screen size. It will not show the UI of the mobile application. That is one difference which you will see. And the application which you will see will be completely not in a proper structured way. So when we work with local host, you will get the application, you can run the application, but the way you want to see it in the mobile frame, that will not be clearly visible to you when you work with Ionic Serve. Once this gets installed, we will see how do we work with the another application, or you can say another way where we have to work with Ionic Lab. Ionic Lab is a platform given by the Ionic framework developers where they have their own cloud service where we can run our application, and that application is really nice, which we will see the difference once it gets working. So this is our local host 8100 working with. So this you will see like this. This is actually mobile screen which you are seeing where you have the blank application, and this is something which is written in the application which we will see what is the meaning and how do we change this. Now let us see another way of running our application. So I will just terminate this by Control C. Now I will run this application working with Ionic Lab. So I will say Ionic serve minus lab. That means we are working with the lab feature which is there given by Ionic to us. See, it is saying it is generating browser application bundles because it is going to work in the lab of Ionic. This may take few minutes to get installed properly. The best way to work with Ionic Lab is that you install it globally. Now this is what I'm installing it within the application. Now if because I'm installing it within the application, it is showing me that Ionic Lab is not recognized because it is not globally installed. If you can see over here the command, we have local host also which we can work with. Because we are working with Ionic Lab, it will run on port number 8200. Project type is Angular. Application name is ABC12. So everything is given clearly. But the thing what is missing is Ionic Lab. So it says, do you want to install Ionic Lab? I will say yes and then click on enter, which will install my Ionic Lab for this particular application. So whenever you create a new application also or a new Ionic app, or every time you have to install Ionic. So the best thing is to install it globally. So when I install it globally, you can work with npm install -g, that is for global installation for any kind of application. -g is global, and then finally work with @ionic/lab. So this is the way your Ionic lab looks like, which runs on 8200. This is the iOS screen which is there in front of me. If I want to see other platforms, I can click on this platform here and then click on Android. So now this is the Android way my application will look like, and then I can click on Windows as well. So all the three ways how will my phone look like or how will my application look like into the mobile phones is clearly visible to me when I work with my Ionic Lab. So that is where you can run in your application in two ways, either Ionic Serve or you can work with Ionic Serve minus lab. Thank you.